Hello, in this video, I am going to walk you through how to use your own copy of the Vaquero Trails research project template. So the focus of this obviously isn't me writing the paper for you. It is to take you through the stages of authorship, right? So you're making what the project expectations are yours. Um, what I expect of you is to be having two tabs open. One, this video, the other, your document, and you can press pause or move forward at your pace. But while doing so, I expect you to be transferring instruction and guidance and templates to action. So let's get to it. So first, as soon as you open this template, make it simple, right? So from template, I'll just say Victoria Vaquero. That's the author of our mentor text. So you'll see with these directions, change the title, and then in the upper right-hand corner, right, replace last name with your actual last name. So let's fold that a little bit. Not sure it's why it's showing up quite like that. And that, and there you go. Now your header's in place. So, Victoria, Vaquero. There we go. And the due dates can stay the same. So we've accomplished that. Now, as a pattern, using the yellow highlighted text as a sample, what you'll do for the title, replace the narrative hook title and then the college, career, and life phrasing and craft this into an original, all capitalized title. Let this capture the essence of your Vaquero Trails project focus. So keep the same structure with the narrative hook colon and then the summarizing subtitle, right? There's no bold or anything like that. So for now, we're going to lose the creativity. You'll see this is here as a template. For now, let's just go with that. Remember, you are obviously going to type something different. This is just to model this a little bit. So researching my 5-year, find your focus, nursing plan. So this needs to fit within the setup all on one line. Make this yours. This is just an example. Okay. And what you'll see consistently is we're deleting the template text. So with everything, notice that when you are pasting in, if you want to work from a different document, Control Shift V, right? And then paste as text only, and it'll go right with the formatting. So for this template, I expect you to read, edit, and draft it. And you'll see consistently. Bold coaching, that's from me to you. And that's giving you advice. That's more the approach as a research writer. You'll see consistently highlighted in yellow, that is our mentor text. You have the complete sample in a separate document. But that gives you an idea of what success would look like. And then in brackets, right, for each of these sections, you will put in your own writing, and that's on you. So that's taking, for the last 3 weeks of this course, the entire process of researching. This is where all of those perusal readings, the template you should have already started on by this point, but you have also the act of conducting research. None of this you can do just kind of sitting down on a Sunday night. This is something that should be worth 3 weeks of work in a summer school course. So once you've got all this structure and core concept, you should be deleting. So getting into each of the phases, right? So here we have the 3 tiers of instruction. So the very first paragraph of your paper, that is where this establishes your research situation, right? It's your starting point. A lot of this you should have already found out early in the project from your CAC resume, early questionnaires about this course. This is where you start with it with a hook, something concrete. Spare me the Walt Disney, if you can dream it, you can do it quotes. This is where you get into something authentic that hooked you or was the roots of your path. And then you quickly connect this to this path's significance and digging in a little bit about what we should already know about ourselves. So let's delete my coaching at the back to school health and wellness event in Vista Grande High School. I watched a pediatric nurse kneel beside nervous first graders and turn scary shots into calm conversations. A Casa Grande Union Junior high school junior at the time. Before that day, I knew I liked helping people, but I did not know how. In high school, Key Club taught me leadership through service projects, and my host of future health professionals bioscience class gave me confidence with foundational medical practices like measuring vital signs, using careful terminology, and treating patients with respect. See how that is, that early portion is a combination of an impactful narrative hook that establishes a story and then gives summarizing accomplishments on a path that is focused toward, in this case, the student's 5-year nursing plan. Not everything needs to directly align to nursing or healthcare, but some of these life experiences, school experiences, right, real world experiences, work experiences, those are building towards something. And then one of the key things to establishing your situation as a researcher is giving some key, right? Key qualities in terms of your early focus, a first generation student, um, building sustainability economically, identifying the area of interest, right? The degree path. And still, it's a sign of strength as a researcher what you recognize that you still need to really research. It's really foolish for anyone to go, oh, I know my path. No, you don't. None of us do. There are always possible options, and the more we know, the more possible pathways we create for success. So that's an example. And what you see for each of these, wherever the brackets is that you replace that with your own writing, keeping everything in MLA format. Again, there's no excuse for this not to show up in MLA format. You've been gift wrapped in the template. You have plenty of resources. You have your customized GPT to help you with any questions you have. This is about putting in the depth. So right here, I'm not going to go over the requirements. You had them as ad nauseum. After you establish your research situation in your first paragraph, then your second paragraph transitions to narrate authentic thoughts before you start your research. Even if you're doing this now, should have been done earlier, but if you're doing this now, think about authentic 2 to 5 key things that you really need to focus your research on to address these sub questions. Things you need to learn more about, things you're curious about, questions you have. This should read part journal, part research paper in first person point of view narration. And then we transition into the My Research section of the paper. So that's the coaching. You're capable of doing the reading. I'm going to move a lot quicker, but notice how each of you will start with this italicized question. I really shouldn't read anything else at the top of your second paragraph other than that. And then from that, that's what we call internal dialogue when we italicize and not use quotation marks. So it's as if you're thinking through, how do I do this? How do I go about researching? How do I go about developing? And we can see this student is being reflective, focused, even identifying on pre existing knowledge, barriers, opportunities, accomplishments, mentors. And from this recognition of what the student knows and what the student needs to know through this project, that demonstrates a mature balance of scaffolding from past qualifications and achievements and moving to the future. So, again, you should be this second paragraph, you should be replacing this with your writing. Let me back up just a little bit. We'll take away what we've already covered. And now we're starting to see this looks like a good old fashioned MLA format paper. You need to take the time to read, understand, and delete things, and understand you have another copy of this available in the module, right? The view only with the templates. You can always go back to the advice, but now this thing is starting to look like an MLA format paper. Then we get into the My Research section, right? So that's why the heading is, leave that here, the My Research section. In this intro paragraph, at this point, revised in the past tense, this is where you really just summarize your research approach. So here we see our author giving an effective topic sentence, course summary about not major details, but how Victoria Vaquero approached the research, and understanding that these sub questions are not randomly ordered. You're supposed to do one and then move on to the next. Your knowledge from each should scaffold into the next one. And that's what she does. Then, of course, 4 to 6 sentences. Then we see a full line space here, and you'll see a pattern. You know what the number of these questions are, so that's left off of the template. But a key pattern to each of these 6 questions, there is the research sub-question and the basic requirements. And while a little bit on evidence expectations, some paragraphs you may go a little bit beyond the 11 sentences or more in depth. That's okay. Just make your writing matter and make sure you're meeting your core requirements. So we start with a topic sentence that states what your research helped you learn about whatever that sub question was. You know, I've seen some students in this course for summer school go, I need help writing body paragraphs. Okay, you've got 6 of them to write in depth, all with common denominators. Your topic sentence is going to directly give a response after you conduct the research in one sentence to what you gained the most. And then you support that topic sentence. And that's where you're going to dig in with your evidence, right? Everything is either quoted. I don't want paraphrasing. I don't want summarizing. Direct quotations, keep them 10 words or less for a quotation. Do not leave evidence hanging. Explain what it means and go in depth with the implications. This is where it is not my job to do your critical thinking, nor is it that of Caballito. You can certainly consult me or Caballito. Of course, we're here to help you. This is where you need to take your time and go into research, moving beyond copying and pasting the evidence and putting something in, really critically thinking about what does this evidence mean? How does it or does it not align with your thinking? How do your thoughts evolve? How does this help you focus your path? And then a pretty consistent pattern after your necessary research is at the core, what have you learned and where do you go next, right, for healthy transitions. I am going to not go into details during this body section because you've had plenty of time. Know that your output is going to be consistent in terms of the 8 to 11 sentences, college level English, research minimums, MLA format, and very consistent overall formatting. Some of the content is going to change with the paragraphs, but I think you guys got a feel. I hope so. So here we see topic sentence, evidence, depth of explanation and critical thinking, connecting evidence to your thoughts, to your topic sentence, and transitioning. Here we see an example. Again, this is where you are capable of doing the reading. You've had this for weeks now, but you're seeing an example of what the expectations are. Once you got a feel for it, now we're starting to see we're in format, and this is where your writing, right, needs to come in, right, replacing everything in here with the standards. Question 2, what personal strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats can affect my college and career aligned life goals, right? So in the first one, you should have demonstrated evidence from your AOI source at CAC, the Setting Life Goals article, and with whatever evidence and critical thinking is important. Now, show me, this is where you can go back and you need evidence from the personal SWOT article, and for yourself, align to your goals, to your AOI, to wherever it is that you're going. I should see discussion of detailed strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats while demonstrating that you have an understanding of what these concepts are, which of these are external, which of these are internal, which of these might you be able to flip with appropriate research. What might be a threat might also be an opportunity, but that's where your critical thinking needs to come in and to be researched. So our self-SWOT analysis should be aligned to, right, our goals. The student sample gets the job done. And here we are, replaced with your writing, same standards. Next, using the SWOT concept, yet applying it from mandatory, 3 pieces of concrete evidence, and this is where we're mixing now quantitative, numeric, and qualitative evidence, right? Career one-stop and any other outside free choice research is fine, right? But when you are researching an occupation, make sure that you are picking just one profession. This is not exploratory research in the sense that you're going to think of 5 different things you could be doing. You should be focusing on one career, and even better, a specialty within that career, right? They also use the term occupation, profession. You can use those interchangeably. But for your one focus, most likely, career and specialty, I expect strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And if anything, you should be going beyond the required evidence, right? This is about being informed. And so there's our SWOT career analysis paragraph. Next, this in many ways can be among the most challenging sections of your research, because now for this specific career and specialty, now what degrees and or certificates can you earn at CAC and beyond? This applies to all of us. That includes if you don't plan on getting a bachelor's degree. You still need to research the possibility of it. That is not an option on this project. This isn't about force feeding your destiny. This is about helping you understand that if you want to get a certificate or get an associate's degree, fine, right? However, you may find out that there can be an advantage of a bachelor's or a master's degree. And that's where you will at least research, right, a 4-year path as a possibility. It's just a matter of learning. I privilege CAC University transfer page because you have so many in-state incentives in terms of what's available beyond CAC. And something that is a mandatory resource, and while the mentor text doesn't give it, you need to use details from your individual CAC academic pathway map. I expect to see some discussion on, you don't need to list every course on that map, but what are the kinds of courses that have you excited? Which ones may be challenging? This is where you move from, I want to be a nurse, hypothetically, to something much more in depth, what you could be doing in your path and how you can be learning. It's not just about the degree, it is about the process of learning and building your skills to open up avenues to achieve your purposes, like helping people and also secure your future. This is vitally important in our economy and the economy we may be going into with AI and automation, right? So this is really important that we're considering our pathways and the best ways to learn. So this is where you are starting to gain a better understanding, though, not just of the degrees, but also the different campus locations. You should be comparing and going deeper into the web pages, and I should be seeing pros and cons from different options. So it's not just about degree, it's about where you go and where these educational opportunities may best line up for you. Okay, here's our example, and now we're deleting that. And once we start getting to your conclusions, I should also start to see some signs of what your goals are, like the end games and end semesters of these degrees. Again, this isn't saying you need to finish in 4 years or 3 years or 5 years or whatever, but there should be a vision developing. So now as we get into sub-question 5, this is a huge one. I want this to be crystal clear. You can't do good economic research unless you are aligning it to specific places like CAC and where you're going and how you're doing it. ASU is going to have different options for you financially and economically: scholarships, honors programs, online live options to save money with travel costs of going to school. Some schools have them, some schools don't. And that's where we start getting into economy. Does it make sense to live at home for a while? That's okay. I did that after getting my bachelor's degree while I was getting teaching certification. There are many pathways, and this is where each school is going to have different financial aid pages, scholarship options. So you should be conducting this research according to whatever pathway you came with in terms of your academic conclusion in sub-question 4. This is where side by side, this is where you can get help from Caballito. Help me compare and contrast what my budget might be at this trade school versus just an associate's degree in working, or at Arizona State University versus NAU, right? Or a CAC bachelor program if that's offered. This is where that you should really be getting more into the numbers than anything else for your pathways. So now the last one, sub-question, involvement opportunities. This is where whatever your balance is, this can be engagement, right? As in engaging in clubs, fraternities, sororities, activities, student networking groups, unique living experiences based upon what institution you're going at. I can tell you, I have a degree from U of A, I have a degree from ASU, and we go to Flagstaff every summer. We visited NAU for our sons, and they all offer different experiences. So this is where a blending of life needs, that maybe that's your early CAC emphasis, but engagement opportunities where you're transferring to, right? So CAC's got some great resources, as some of you have pointed out. So research them, make the connections, which seem most likely for your situation. This is also where you're in this paragraph and research, your personal SWOT may very well come back into play, because if you think about what your individual weaknesses are or what some of your threats are external, but they just happen to be part of your situation, that's where you can connect these resources to meeting those needs. Okay, now as we get into just conclusion, your research section, no different headings are going to be here, but summarize what you gain from your research, 1 or 2 key things that you may still need to be researching. So a little bit of reflection to transition into that 5-year plan. Now you're going to see my 5-year college career and life plan. That takes us to a heading of your section. And this is where you turn research into action. This should be the output. If you are sick of writing this long research paper, you never even need to look at all the other stuff ahead of this. what is your output at the end? So that's where you are an informed college level researcher forming your 5 year action plan. And to begin, you're going to just introduce that at the start of the section. Keep it simple. 3 to 5 sentences, yet detailed, how your table is organized, which is kind of gift wrapped for you, but also how your actions connect to project research and your purposeful goals. So there will be no, in a template, detailed coaching because this needs to be you, right? This needs to be you having done the research. So with our mentor text example, you see how from Victoria Vaquera, from all of her research, she has gone from action steps to complete, yes, by the end of summer 26. That may not be something that's due this summer, but think of how we are always planning ahead so our process moves smoothly. So you see that she goes from nursing prerequisites, some action steps may not be totally synchronous just throughout the semester, tutoring weekly for science classes, and that can be really challenging. But also starting searching using tools, right? CAC Pipeline AZ, that's where specific jobs align to whatever your AOI or qualifications are. So we see concrete action steps with academics, applying for specific scholarships, joining groups. So notice there's may be no perfect combination of which of the research sub questions you're addressing, but for most of these, you got a pretty good feel that something with academics, something with finances, something with engagement. And if you're seeing consistent, detailed action steps, semester by semester, valuing the summers, between finishing one certification or degree or program entrance or summer internship, moving into the next thing, all the way up to licenses, career aspirations, graduations, big moves and transitions, and going all the way into this. Something that this example doesn't have is a little bit of a reward. Um, you completed something, did a fantastic job of it. What life experiences do you want to have? That's where, for me, for example, I use my summers, and that's when I really spend quality time with the family. But at the same time, I may even be developing skills as a professor while spending time with my family, vacations, and so forth. Right? Have you always had a goal to backpack across Europe or to do something for yourself? So make that part of your plan. I think that's a healthy balance. Okay. So this is where you see I deleted the example table. And now here we see 5 year college career life plan, 3 to 5 sentences. And this is where I've gift wrapped you the structure of the table for each of the thresholds in this project. You simply start it with a verb. We know you're doing it, so just do this, take this, right? No need to put the I in there, but let these short sentences be very detailed. Don't go so much about the how. These are your action steps all the way through spring of 31. And then in your conclusion, this is where you maybe bookend using the narrative hook from your essay in the beginning, something authentic. Again, spare me the Walt Disney quotes. Something back into it, forward looking, reflecting on what this project helped you understand, and then ending with some mic drop sentence, maybe even a little bit forward looking on the focus and output of your journey. And then in the end, your works cited with all of you don't need to date you visited, I don't need that, but alphabetized, get help if you need it. I want functioning hyperlinks. The HTTP, that should be cut off. Test the hyperlinks, they should all work. 10 is the minimum. Probably we're probably talking close to like 15 at least to do this. And again, I don't want to see any of this yellow highlighting. I've gift wrapped you a template. I expect you to use it and follow directions. So there we go. Remember, your works cited needs to start on a separate page, right? And we center that, and then we should be good to go. That takes us at your works cited, and then download as a PDF, upload it into Blackboard, your practice draft, and same template is 100% completed, everything as I've directed by Sunday, right in our 5th week of this course. You got this. Now's your turn to put it all together.